Hey, friend.
Hey.
We're back. A very kind person DM'd me this morning and said, I've been checking Apple Podcasts every day waiting on this episode. So shout out to you, friend. We back like we never left.
Your big age besties. Wait. If we're going to use internet speak, big age girlies.
You hate that word.
I hate it.
You hate it. I love being called a girly.
Why?
It flows off the tongue. You know, I just flows off the tongue. But I also love being called an auntie. So I will use them interchangeably. Some people do not like being called auntie. I welcome it.
Why wouldn't people want to be called auntie?
I think there's something around speaking specifically of Jackie Aina, who is a makeup guru, who kind of set the internet ablaze last year, the year before about this. She says it's because she was adultified very young and that she doesn't want that responsibility, I think, if I'm summing it up correctly, of being considered the internet's auntie.
Because it invokes responsibility.
Yeah, like trigger some stuff for her, which is a very individual response, and she gets that. But I want to be everybody auntie.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, the more the merrier.
But it rolls off better than like big age mommy. Like, right? Doesn't that seem weird?
Hot big age mommy, hot toddy mommy.
Yeah, like the whole thing is all weird. Okay, great. We're everyone's aunt. We welcome auntie.
We welcome that. I think
everyone's big, but okay, whatever. Let's not.
Your Blue Sky handle should be hot toddy big age mommy. What do you think about that?
I'll take it under advisement.
Okay.
But we are on Blue Sky, everyone.
Tell us what Blue Sky is, and for people who don't know.
Okay, so I'm just getting to know it too. So my friend Tim, who was an early Twitter adopter, he had Twitter before anyone had Twitter.
Okay.
He told me about Blue Sky in November. And he said all the cool kids are doing it and everyone's getting off Meta because he knew somehow that all this stuff with Meta was going to go down. I think probably there had been or maybe once Trump won, everyone assumed. And so Blue Sky is very similar to the old Twitter. So not a visual platform.
Okay.
But a verbal one?
Yeah, so they used to call Twitter microblogs, and I think Blue Sky is getting back to that form of like using social media for the intention of it, which was to be social, and it's attempting to get rid of all of the mis and disinformation. And when you say what Meta was becoming, I'm thinking you're talking about how they recently got rid of fact checking.
Yeah, because they said fact checking was biased.
Okay, so we're just going to let the alt-right, the neo-Nazis, the manosphere, and the culture wars just
But
happen.
my question about all of this is, if different people are migrating to different platforms based on their understanding of mis and disinformation, like a group of people thinking that it exists, because it does, because we know facts have been distorted in ways that are not based in reality and not taken off the internet, so people have made decisions based on those incorrect facts.
This is true.
Okay, so there's a group of people that don't think that happened. And then there's a group of people that do think that happened. And the group of people that do think that happened, many of them are migrating off of Meta. And the people that don't think that happened are staying. So is this going to be like we all are really now in our own internet?
You're so brilliant. So we're going to talk about this either later in today's episode or the next one, because this is exactly why my word of the year was connection. Because we are all experiencing our very own myopic, altered realities through our devices. And what you just said is so true. And it just ruins our ability to be sympathetic and to empathize with people, and a host of other issues. An increase of loneliness.
Yes, we need to talk about all of that. And by the way, connection isn't only Tashira's word of the year. It's also mine.
It was mine first, bitch.
It was... Just because you shared it first, but I had also written it down in my head.
I created the word connection. It was...
My daughter plays connections every day with my dad on NewYorkTimes.com.
Okay, so maybe subconsciously it was your word first.
Okay, no, but we're going to talk about what that means to us. And I think the opposite of it, which is the lack of connection and how that has come up for us and comes up for everyone, particularly in the season, but like this season of the year, but also in the season of our life.
That's good. It's a good point. Just about being a big age.
Okay. But before we get to that, which is going to be part 2 of this episode, happy 2025, everyone. Thanks for being back with us. We are excited to be filming and a couple announcements.
Yes.
So we are moving back to seasons,
Yep.
which is how we started this endeavor. Not for any reason other than to consolidate some of our content and to increase our other content.
Yes. Like our Substack.
So we're going to be investing much of our time in Substack to kind of connect us in a real way, offer an opportunity for people in the community who might not feel comfortable connecting through YouTube, Meta, or Blue Sky, or are not interested in social media connections to connect through Substack, which is a different platform that offers more written, going back to our blogging days. So we're each going to be writing our own individual letters to our community every month, and then one that we're going to do together, as well as a lot of other links that we are going to share, including the stuff that we're reading and digesting, and hope that we can start having real conversations about real facts.
Exactly. So I think now is definitely the time to just start to privilege longer form content again. I think if you are here and you're part of our community, you get that. And we just want to have other platforms and ways to do it. So we look forward to it.
Yeah, we're really excited. We also have our next live event on the calendar.
Yeah, but meet us in Baltimore at Collective Spaces. It is in downtown Baltimore. First of all, you all are going to love the space. It is absolutely dynamic, exposed brick, ductwork. It's just very moody. It's a whole vibe in and of itself. And then when you get the hot, toddy, batty, big age mommies in the room, just keep adding
Aunties.
keep adding adjectives.
Yeah.
Um,
MILFs who are aunties.
Auntie Milfy Baddies in
Auntie
the
Milfy
room.
baddies who like a good mocktail.
Period. Because we're going to have those too.
And we're starting early so we can be in bed by 9.
I have not told Margo yet about the DJ that I hired, but it's definitely going to be, I'm just kidding. I don't know if we're going to have a DJ
I
yet.
hope so.
But
Wait, she says that like it's a threat. I love a good DJ. I love
bitch, because you
dancing.
got to stay up past 9 o'clock.
If there's music, I'll stay up.
Okay, great.
I stayed up till 12:01 on New Year's.
Oh, congratulations, friend. So we are going to be in Baltimore Collective Spaces. It is going to be the second Supper Club of Justice. We are partnering with Chef Katina. Folks know her in Baltimore. Her food is absolutely delicious. For a multi-course meal, we will have vegetarian options. Welcome cock or mocktails, whatever your fancy might be. And just a good time. I think, I don't know, you tell me, friend, but what I took away from our last Supper Club is that community is so important, and we can build community in real time with new people.
Yes, and we can connect. I think I think there's something that's holding us back.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just lack of opportunity, which I think is part of it. But we can connect in real life with people who we don't know in a way that feels authentic during this phase of our life. It's just not presented to us as frequently.
I like that.
So we have to create it.
Yeah.
Right? And so it was fun to get dressed up. It was fun to eat good food. It was fun to buy a new book. It was fun to listen to amazing music. It was fun to connect with different women and femmes from around the Boston area, who some of whom were listeners, but not all.
And not all. And that's the interesting thing too about how, like, I'm a big believer in energy. If you are listening to this platform, it's something energetically that is drawing you to us and to this content. And so for me, what I thought to myself when I got in the room was, oh, these are my people.
And I think kind of going back to seasons and to the Substack conversation, right? We're going back to what we started this project, which was visibility during middle age, big age. But that really was like, why don't we have models of what it means to live a good life, whatever that is, during this phase of our life? And I think particularly now with literally the country on fire, we are filming this and California is literally on fire.
Literally on fire.
We don't have many opportunities or experiences where people are encouraging us to be visible.
Yeah.
And to live our life in any way that feels right to us. And so that's what this platform is, an ability to authentically connect and to have some of these hard conversations. Maybe they be political, but maybe they're just about our life.
which is a political act. And so do not feel like you have to wait for your best friend, your mama, your auntie, your cousin to come into town. Grab a ticket by yourself, friend.
Mm-hmm.
Treat yourself.
Yes, and we will do assigned seating.
Yeah.
So even if you come with someone and want to sit with them, please put that in your ticket request. Otherwise, Mama Hot Milfy Margo is going to be doing
The seating
seating
chart.
chart, and you know I don't know anyone in the DMV, so I am going to be doing it based on anything I think of.
Exactly.
Maybe even how pretty your name is.
And you will be leaving with someone, hopefully multiple people, who you will have the opportunity to get to know for this next phase of our big age lives. So make sure you grab your tickets. The link will be in the bio.
Amazing. Okay. So we know what your word of the 2025 year is, but what were some of your resolutions? And if you didn't have resolutions, why didn't you have resolutions? And what do you think of like New Year's?
Oh, gosh. Okay. So New Year's for me, I was telling my partner this last night, is so exciting. I get just as excited for December 31st and January 1st as I do Thanksgiving, probably more honestly than Thanksgiving, my birthday, or even Christmas. Like I am a New Year's girly. I
Auntie
absolutely
Milfy, Mama Hottie.
I love the idea of either staying in or getting dressed up or writing down, the intentions and the goals, listening to music, the thing with the banner and the whoo, like all of this is my vibe, Margo. And I think it's just because I enjoy goal planning, I enjoy visioning, just as like a hobby, right? I was a little girl who always could be caught somewhere daydreaming or playing make believe. And so there's something about a hard reset on a new year that gives me, I think, a reason to do that. I'll say that number one. But number two, before I made any resolutions, which I don't make any, I set intentions, but before I started to think about my goals, I went back and I watched our 2 episodes from last year. And I realized how much I just failed. And all
Really?
Red.
What were your resolutions?
Where were you when I was failing?
Tashira, you realize I don't remember anything from these filmings. I'm in my flow state right now. I'm on drugs, on a drug of happiness. What was your
Margo,
intention? Not goals.
How I was talking some good stuff. I might have been on dope. I was talking about how I was gonna stop working so hard.
Oh, right.
I was
Okay, what
a
else?
new me. I was saying, I confessed to you how I had carpal tunnel and I was going to change, only to end up with neck pain at the end of last year. Fucking failed, dog.
No.
Oh, gosh. And we're going to talk about this in today's episode. I think I realized why. Now, there were some things like about my business growth and things that I knocked out of the fucking water. But that's because that is what's at the top of my mind so consistently. And I realized the thing that I let go of last year was like a checking in with myself and a mindfulness. Also, my word last year was heal. And I realized probably about mid-year that that's not a destination, that's a journey. And so we're always healing from something.
Yep.
Right? As sure as we wake up and as my grandmother says, our ass is pointed towards the ground, we're going to go through something. We're going to experience something. And so healing is not linear, nor is it final.
But do you think you meant healing in a particular way? Because I feel like you're selling yourself short because, well, maybe I'm just being protective of you, but like.
From myself.
Yeah, from yourself. I feel like you're being a little critical because while you didn't take a step back from work,
Okay.
I feel like you have a much different relationship with your phone.
Thank you, friend. No, that is true. That is true. That is true. I think that I kind of got back on the horse, probably maybe around October or so. But there was a period there that was kind of dark as far as my workaholism, I think. But I did much better at Fashion Week this year. I think I was a lot more present in different parts of my life. My love life obviously blossomed and grew. And I'm so grateful, not just from my
Cinderella
partner.
and Cinderella.
and our families, right? It feels so good that both of our families are embracing us and one another. And so those things definitely were on point and I was firing in all cylinders. But I also, I I can hold myself accountable and say I work too much. What about
Okay.
you?
So I feel better
Okay.
and I feel proud of myself that I haven't allowed the mediocrity of people's expectations of physical well-being in midlife to be mine.
Mhm.
And I feel like I'm still very much on that journey. But I guess I'm on the journey towards feeling healthier.
Good.
Um, and I really feel like to your experience, that really culminated in like October, November,
Mhm.
where I was like, oh my gosh, I think I feel better.
Good.
Like I think I'm starting to feel stronger and feel all these different things coming back up, which we can talk about in another episode we're gonna do tomorrow. But
Yeah.
um I I wouldn't say that I'm there, but I think I'm on my way there.
So maybe there's a lesson there also and a reminder that achieving our goals was never meant to be like
A
a
check.
linear
Yeah, I think
step by
so
step.
that's what I want to talk about because I love the reset. I love resets
Okay.
and I love change and I love the morning because the morning offers a whole day
Yeah.
where the night feels ominous to me, right?
Mm.
I love the first day of a vacation
Yeah.
or I love the first time you like do anything. I really like that the feeling of starting something and
Yeah.
starting something fresh. So I love the new year too for that reason. But I've gotten really tired of America's kind of consumerism around New Year's. It feels very grifty to me.
Now, if you're gonna talk about it, you just gonna have to talk about that thing.
Right. So it's like, I don't want to hear how you lost 10 pounds in January. I don't want to buy your scale. No, I don't want to reset my whole life.
Yeah.
And it feels like people play on the insecurity of women in
Mhm.
particular
Mhm.
to sell shit to make them feel like they need to change their life for the new year.
And also, yes, 100%
I
girl.
don't like that.
Because here's the gag and the grift that you buying the thing ain't gonna is it was never gonna change your life. Because when it comes down to achieving goals and setting intentions, that takes mindfulness, it takes work, it takes tenacity.
It's also, I think we misname it because if we want to change our behaviors around something specific, that's habit forming,
Talk about this.
right? So I mean, the data shows that changing habits is very hard and it can be done, but you have to do it incrementally.
Yeah.
And you have to, I mean, I guess maybe habit changing are like micro goals.
It's these again
It's
steps.
steps. And so why would changing behaviors that impact your life be any different?
Because I think it's also what's sold to us in a day and era of mass consumption, which I've also been thinking a lot about. It is the easiest thing to market. Because could you imagine if Amazon said, okay, it's going to take you 365 days, three setbacks, a couple days where you won't be able to get out of bed, but I promise you, you'll be happier once you achieve your goal. Nobody would buy that thing.
Yeah.
Why would you buy it? You wouldn't sign up for that. It's download this ebook on healthy eating in the keto diet to lose 50 pounds in 6 weeks. That is what you buy. That is what we're sold. Those are messages that we are digesting every day. And it's a lie. And I think we have to divorce ourselves from that if we really want to show up and be better in some way in this new year.
Yeah. And so when you say that my word of last year was wellness or health or something, I feel proud of myself because I made incremental changes, right?
Yeah.
So I like remember like I really wanted to work on my sleep. Boop.
Woo.
I mean, over vacation, I'm just saying I was in the green zone every day.
Every day, bitch.
Every day for
That's
recovery.
amazing.
Yeah, 100% sleep and green recovery. Now I'm in the low yellow right now. So something about the sun and being on vacation
Of
does
course.
does does a body good. But that took a really long time. I mean, I've struggled with, I've
With
struggled with my
sleep.
sleep for 20 years. And so making kind of small changes incrementally has really made an impact. Or I think about last year too, I was having all of these stomach issues and slowly I mean, I still struggle sometimes, but like my stomach and digestion is at such a better place
Yeah.
and I know kind of what my triggers are. So again, it takes a really long time and it's not anything that I can be like, yeah, I'm good.
It's incremental change. And if I had to give any advice to myself and to folks who might be listening, I would say make a plan in your goals for this year, for your intention for this year, to check in and to set those smaller milestones and give yourself grace on the way. Because what I realized I didn't do also, Margot, which is very important for me as someone who enjoys a plan, is I didn't build any check-in mechanism.
Yeah, we need to do that. We really need to do that. Just both for our business is business, and for ourselves. Because I feel like also with the podcast, right? We would get to a point and it was clearly a time for like some transition, but we didn't have anything built in.
Exactly.
And
Right.
so I think it all like we're at a great spot, but it would have felt more organized if we had done it in a more kind of systematic way.
At the very least. And so I spent a little bit of time on Asana. I'm excited to jump more deeply in. This is
She
my
loves the song.
productivity nerd coming out.
A
Just
good project management tool.
oh God, it warms my heart.
Do you know that Asana, when you check off stuff, I don't know on mine, I don't know if it's on yours. I don't know if it's on yours, guys. A unicorn jumps out of a rainbow.
You know the reward seeking part of my brain?
You love that.
The Pavlovian response. Oh God,
I love that
give me
too.
a Birkin and a unicorn. And every time I'll do the thing. But
I sometimes just add things to
just so
my
you can have the unicorn. That's you. You're tricking it.
That's not
I can
fair.
tell you're not an Asana purist, clearly. But I spent some time like giving my breaking my word of the year into goals and then building in with reminders those weekly, monthly, and quarterly check-ins.
How do you build in the reminders?
You just set the due date of the assignment and then it'll come to your email or ping your Asana.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. And it tells
So
you
you
what it's due.
can schedule a check-in about a goal?
Yep. See?
Mind blown.
Yep. So whether it is putting it in your phone, guys, if it is actually writing it down in a planner or an agenda, this is something that I really hope, and mark my words, I will come back to this at the end of the
We're going to put it in our Asana for our filming in June to check in.
We'll check in. We'll see how it goes.
I love that. So I listened to a podcast, I think it was on the Daily, where it was their New Year's
Oh,
episode.
nice.
And there was this one guy who was talking about New Year's resolutions and why they often kind of fall apart. And he was saying, he was like a very academic-y guy. And he was saying, oh, like everyone's New Year's resolutions around losing weight is so banal. What if we, didn't say, I don't want to eat those 10 cookies a week, but instead we added 2 amazing cookies from the local bakery. And I was like, you know what? I mean, the way you're saying it is kind of snobby,
Yeah.
but this idea of why are we so wedded to detraction?
Talk about
What
it.
if we talked about what we could add in?
So my nutritionist talked to me about this, and it was like, blew my mind because
We learned about this in my nutrition program
Really?
too. Not so much around the cookies, but like in terms of nutrient density, it's not so much about what you're stripping away, it's what you're adding in that can make you make better choices.
I am a cereal addict. I've been that way my whole life. I just love the crunch. I just love cereal. Obviously, most cereals that are marketed in this country are not very nutrient rich. And so I was talking to my nutritionist about it, and I was like, "Yeah, I just need to just not eat cereal." And she was like, "Hold on. You enjoy cereal. Girl, eat your cereal. But what if you ate 2 boiled eggs along with your cereal to make sure you're getting enough protein in it? Maybe you can add something to get some fat or some carbs. And so, yes, I agree. It's not always about detraction. But I also just generally have very much of like a harm reduction mindset. And anytime we expect to just blow up our lives and do something new, back to your point about incremental change, it's just not going to work. That's not how the human psyche works.
No.
It's what can we add in, not what we can detract.
Yeah, and I think there's just so much fear mongering around our lives. I mean, or on my corner of the internet. But also not even on the internet, just in general. And why are we using the opportunity of a fresh start to like flagellate ourselves? Is that a word?
It is.
To put to make ourselves feel bad.
Or to self-deprecate.
Yeah.
No, that's real. And so I think we should just take a moment to give ourselves both, and to you all who are listening, a pat on the back and say that you are right where you're supposed to be. We're here for a reason.
But I also think there's something about the optimism at the beginning of the year that we need to talk about.
Okay.
Like, why can't we harness this anytime?
We absolutely can, and we should.
So that's made me think like, oh, I'm feeling hopeful. Like the end of the year was a little hard for me and I'm feeling better. And I'm like, oh, I'm feeling better. Is it because it's the new year, or I'm just feeling better and like I can just feel better?
Whenever I wake up and decide that that's my intention for the day or for the season. Yeah, I mean, my Hotep sisterin would tell you that this whole like calendar stuff is not even real. It's a tool of the West, right? And so, Monday, Tuesday, January, December, it's just made up, Margo. So this idea that we have to do something brand new on January 1st is just a tool of white supremacy. Now, on the flip side, what I will say, however, for those of us who do believe in the Western calendar, that it goes back to commodification. Because it's kind of like you can only show your romantic partner love on Valentine's Day. You can only show your mother love or give her flowers on Mother's Day, right? Like you can only give your children gifts during Christmas or their birthdays. So it goes back to the way that capitalism has completely commodified these moments in our lives that should not have a price tag or a material good attached to them. The new year is just a day in a 24-hour period.
So there's also a lot of data that we found that shows that the younger you are, the more optimistic you are at the beginning of the year, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
So since I experience your love of the New Year, holidays, and the summer and your birthday as though you were 6 years old. Because you remind me of my youngest daughter. No, because it's...
Why can't Mari remind you of me? Like, why I gotta be acting like a 6-year-old?
She's actually 5.5.
Fuck?
But we have been talking about her 6-year birthday since she turned 5.
And should.
Rainbow Unicorn Sparkles.
But all things I fucking love.
Right. No, so this is why that you guys remind me of each other or
That's
something.
my dog, for real.
But it's this idea of this moment that is special for you. And it's a beautiful thing that you can harness.
At any point.
No, I'm giving you a compliment.
Oh, okay, thank you. It was hidden, but I
Yeah.
received it.
No, it's like amazing that you have so much excitement.
Yeah.
You're like, ugly sweater, yes! Santa, yes!
I saw Santa. He was in the back of a fire truck last year.
First flight of 2025. I was like, oh my God, we're flying this. You're like, I think I have the stomach bug. You're like, woo, go to Miami. Like, do you know what Josh calls that?
What?
It's so mean. He calls it negative narco.
Wait, let me just say that when I rewatched the episodes, you said that then too. So there's something there.
He's like, oh, is negative narco on the plane today?
Which one is it?
Which one is it? God, that's so mean, but it's also very true. I should talk to my therapist.
Just saying, it came full circle for him.
Okay, so there's also something else that I would just like to shout out.
Okay.
So one of the people that listen to us or watch us, I don't know what she does, but we also listen and watch her, is Jordan Madison, who
Mhm.
has a platform called Therapy for Black Girls.
Yes.
And she is amazing.
Absolutely, 100%.
And she said something that I find so moving and relevant to this conversation that I was very helpful for me. So I'm hoping it's relevant for other people. She said, if you revisited past goals and realized that once was an achievement or intention you were striving for no longer matters to you, then please know that that's okay too.
Mhm.
2 years have passed, and in that time, I'm sure you have changed and grown as a person, not to mention life circumstances may have shifted as well. During COVID, for example, a lot of people shared their career aspirations, opened a business, or started a family. Those are all huge life transitions which require a new mindset.
Yep.
And so this idea of allowing ourselves to be okay with not having those goals, or that those goals didn't happen and maybe they are no longer our goals.
And it doesn't mean we failed.
Right.
And even if we did, how about we take some time to redefine what it means to fail? Because we're all just collecting data that we can pour into a new experience.
Yeah, and I also think that maybe we set ourselves up, like we generally, to fail. So going back to your goals from 2024, right? If one of your goals was to change your relationship with work and to have more rest, but also you were growing 3 businesses, how actually were you
One of those things does not match the
right?
other.
Like I don't it's just not congruent.
Yeah, I mean, so thank you, friend, because to that point, it's not lost on me that the year I worked the hardest is also the year that my business was the most successful. That's not going to happen in my sleep.
You can't automate that.
Yeah. Yep, as hard as I try, it is absolutely impossible. And so I think as we round out part 1 of this episode, I would love to keep talking with you about then, so what does that mean for this year? And you often remind me that at some point enough is going to have to be a fucking enough. Because in order for me to reach the stated goal, the other thing is just not going to be able to happen.
Right, and you're so good at helping me say no. I mean, I think they're part and parcel, right? We have to be able to say no, thank you, or not now, or not for me.
Yeah.
But also that comes sometimes with not the money.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's not there yet.
Uh,
You're like,
as I twitch. Not all about money, guys. I just, I like the soft life. I like the soft
but
life.
she doesn't, because if the soft life is okay. So this is also interesting about our definitions of the soft.
Okay, tell me.
Because the soft life to me is not working that much.
Oh.
It's like relaxing.
But see, I feel like I have to work very, very hard in order to be able to relax.
So do I feel that way too, but I don't think that's the soft life. I think that's rest because we've worked hard.
And we're like facing burnout.
Right. But maybe I'm wrong.
I can see both. No, I can see both. I think here's the thing. So more so than money, there's something about a back to the Pavlovian response, the reward seeking behavior that got set off in my brain really early
Same.
that I have not disconnected with around the results of hard work. And I had a really good conversation with author Lovey AJ, for folks who may know her, activist and a writer. And she told me over our vacation, she said, Tashira, you've worked really hard. You've demonstrated to yourself that you can work really hard. Maybe this season of your life is not about hard work, it's about the right work. And I just sat with that and I was like, you know what? You're right. Because at the end of the day, 2 things are true. Number 1, what good is all this shit if I can't enjoy it? Because from my neck to the tips of my fingers is numb and pain because of stress and nerve pain, right? And on top of that, there are systems at play that I'm well aware of that at some point are going to provide a glass ceiling. And none of us wants to actually admit it, but that's the truth. I'm not going to get a fucking million followers on IG. While I'm shucking and jiving and fucking tap dancing for Mark Zuckerberg. At some point, the wellness has to be the goal.
No, I mean, we talked about this after the election, that like this was not obviously the result that we wanted by any stretch of the imagination, but there's something, I don't know if liberating is the right, I don't know what the right, clarifying
Yeah.
that the jig is up,
It's up, dog.
right? Like we're not on equal playing fields. This country wasn't going to elect a Black woman, no matter how good her campaign was, right? That there's no perfect candidate, that the Democratic Party is really fractured, that our current political mechanisms and machines are based in money and power.
Mm-hmm.
There are interests that are going to be above those of human rights.
Always. People
And like
under
saying that,
profits.
people are like, oh, you're like disloyal, or like, you don't actually believe that. And it's like, no, actually we all, I mean, maybe not all of us individually, but like that's what this country believes. Like, we don't believe we have a right to housing. We don't believe we have a right to health. We don't believe we have a right to food. We don't believe we have a right to transportation. We don't believe we have a right to our own bodies or reproductive justice. We clearly made a statement as a country.
Mm-hmm.
And while it was not the statement that I want at all or want to live in, there's something eye-opening about kind of creating like our own. I don't know what the right response is, but
You can't turn away.
you can't turn away, and you can also only do what you can do within the structures that you were dealt.
Absolutely. And I think for those of us who sit at some intersection of marginalization, we have known that inherently for a long time. I think there's something different about seeing it in such an overt way, especially in our lifetime.
In our lifetime.
But also, our conditioning has been conditioned, because I have sat with that level of wokeness and consciousness for a very long time, yet I'm still playing the game. And so the question is, how do I work hard, but not to the point where I am overworking? Because there's nothing wrong with hard work.
No.
There's something wrong with exploiting myself and expecting a particular result that will not be given to me because of who I am in this world. And I'm A-O-fucking-K with that intellectually. But the second that lizard brain kicks in, the second I go on autopilot, bitch, I'm like Kermit the Frog. Working from sun up to sun down.
Same.
So stay tuned, y'all. So I see you're wearing your Whoop.
Always.
And you had a pretty good vacation.
Yeah, all green. All green. I was in the green zone for the entire vacation, which has never happened to me before, 7 days in a row. So for those of you who are on Whoop, you know what green recovery means. You are good. Your body is prime for movement, prime for activity.
Mm-hmm.
So it means I'm getting like the necessary movement that I need, but also the necessary rest that I need. And it was just a great way to end the year. Also, I have a new Whoop team because I gifted an annual Whoop subscription to my husband, my eldest daughter, my dad, and my brother. So all 5 of us are on a new team called Margo and her Marglettes. And it is so interesting because my brother was like, only my sister would get me a gift that encouraged me to move and sleep more. But it's so fun, and I'm so, like, my brother's so active. He walks his dog so much, and he always puts it in his dog walking.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, and my brother is welcoming a new baby soon, and so I cannot wait to see what his activity and sleep is like when he has his newborn. My dad sleeps so well.
Yeah.
And he's been walking more, he said, because he thinks I'm watching him.
Because you are.
Watching him, I'm just checking in. Sure. It's also, honestly, selfishly, a nice way for me to connect with my eldest daughter who, is a teenager and, sometimes doesn't want to connect with me.
Yeah, she's on the dark side. She comes back.
Yeah, she comes back. But this is like an area where we can connect. Anyway, so we're talking about it. And I was joking. So Josh was like complaining. He does not like not to win. He's actually a very competitive.
So competitive.
He's like a really good athlete. And so like the fact that I'm like beating him out of the park, and we're sleeping together every night. So we're in bed together every night. I get like 8.5 hours
What if he
of
starts
sleep.
to like gently wake you up? To, like,
And his whoop is showing like 6.5 hours. Like, what the fuck is he doing? I don't know, but he's not sleeping well. And Howard, my father-in-law, was like, "What are you guys talking about?" So I like talked to him about the whoop, and I was like, "Oh, Josh has performance anxiety." And Josh is like, "No, Dad,
That's
like,
not. No.
I was like, "Oh, not like that, but like sleep
Lord.
anxiety."
Well, hopefully, Josh will get over the performance
He has,
anxiety
since
around
he-
sleep. Okay, so has he been in the green zone too a couple times?
So now that we're home, he's sleeping better.
Okay, this is great. So it was just the hotel bed.
It was just the hotel bed. And it's been super fun. And also my HRV. Do you know what HRV is?
I have no idea what that is.
Heart rate variability.
Okay.
Josh thinks it's fake, but it's actually a thing. And the higher your heart rate variability, the healthier you are, because basically it shows, it's a complicated mathematical thing, but it shows how quickly your heart can change from like beating slowly to beating fast to beating slowly, meaning like that variability reflects good health.
It's like an indication of wellness. I can believe that.
Okay, so my HRV was so high on vacation, and now it's so low.
Girl.
So like,
You're at your best when you're vacationing.
uh-huh.
Well, folks, listen, you can't go on vacation every day, but what
No.
you can do is track your sleep with Woo.
Also, wait, one more thing.
Margo, please. Jesus.
Wait, okay, fine, I'll do it another time. I bought a Whoop bra.
Okay. You guys, the link is in the show notes in the description box. Thank you, Woo.
Okay, so we are changing up the segment around dumb shit because, like, there's enough dumb shit in the news.
Child, wait, open your eyes. It's just dumb shit everywhere.
So
shit is just dumb.
We're kind of taking this segment to talk about current events or funny things we've heard or things that either you or I have questions about that are maybe coming from Gen Z that we need some edification on.
I love it.
Okay. And so in the news recently, and I think the timing is important because we were together when we learned that Twitch took his own life 2 years ago. We were in New York going to Gabby Bernstein. Anyway, and I had to explain to you who Twitch was.
Yeah, and you had to remind me again the other day because I had forgot.
Okay.
But
So Twitch was a dancer. He was on Ellen DeGeneres. He took over for Ellen when Ellen was out.
Okay.
He married this woman named Allison Holker, who had a child from a previous relationship. Twitch adopted that child, and then they had 2 biological children together.
Now, was she a dancer as well?
She was a dancer as well.
Okay.
So then they like danced together a lot. And I remember during COVID, they would have like online dance classes and do dances and bring in dancers. And something seemed off. It was too perfect. And everything about their life was like linked. You know, like, oh, they have a deal with Pottery Barn. Oh, their house is this. Oh, their kids are this. Oh, the pajamas are this. Oh, the
excessive monetization.
Yeah, of their life. But they danced. And they were good dancers. And then he sadly took his life.
Yeah.
And she kind of no one can comment, I guess, on other people's grief, but like objectively, like grieved, obviously in private, but then like started making the rounds last year.
Okay.
Talking about her healing and being positive, and it again felt a little off to me, like a little too poly positive.
Okay.
And then a couple months ago at Fashion Week, when we were at Fashion Week too, she came out with a new boyfriend who's like a tech guy. And people had some issues with that, like that. And again, it's like, who's to comment on other people's healing?
Okay.
Right? Like, do we not want this woman to find love again? She's in her mid 30s.
Yeah.
Like, and then this week, her new memoir dropped where she talked about like having no idea that he was struggling and finding all these drugs in his closet and reading his journals. And maybe he was sexually abused as a child and then sharing his journals. And so parts of his family who have not said a word, which I've also thought was odd, right? He has like an extended family and lots of friends, have not said a word since his death. Started coming out and being like, Allison, this is so beyond disgusting. We haven't said anything out of respect for Twitch, but your PR machine is out of control. And like, this is fucked up, just like you having us sign NDAs at his funeral. What? What is that? I've never heard of anything like that. And so there's going to be a lot that people are starting to be like, this is disgusting. He would never want any of this shared. Deal with your own demons.
Jesus. If you are listening and not watching, my jaw is on the floor.
So I want your opinion because you're the famous person of the two of us.
Jesus. Okay, let me just say, number one, I am manifesting some level of ease that may come with fame, but not fame. I read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo over the break, and my God, I do not want anything to do with fame. But
Fiction.
I misread this, I think, when we were preparing for the show and reading the show notes. I thought she wrote or had someone to write his biography. I did not realize that this was her memoir where she actually shared personal things about him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, in the next episode, we'll talk about the title, but the title is like Healing, Joy, and Finding My Light.
Oh, she's on dope. That's crazy. And I'm not saying I know that for a fact, but that's absolutely bananas. This is definitely given like a narcotic behavior because...
Wait, what? You actually think she's on drugs?
I mean, she claims he was.
She said she had to Google the different drugs that she found.
Oh, well, I totally believe that. And I believe she had no idea that her husband was on drugs. Because it just, for me, and let's say she may, who knows, she could be completely sober. I just think that there is a complete like lack of not just like principle and love and honoring her late husband's legacy that's at play, but also you're tone deaf to the world around you.
Correct.
So there's something happening.
Like you're that innocent. Like, did you also like not share a home with him?
This is what I'm saying. And so initially I thought I was like, well, as I saw kind of the headlines kind of come down my feed and I didn't, dig deep. I thought, well, maybe she needs money. Maybe he was the primary breadwinner. Maybe this just kind of came out as an aside to talking about his life story and sharing things that were much more positive.
Apparently all the money from the book is going to his foundation.
That she's the CEO of. The chairman of the board of.
I don't know. It begs the question though, like how do we, in this era of sharing, how do we respect legacy? Right? Well, like she's saying she's doing it because she wants to bring light to his struggles in the hopes that no one else struggles that way. Yeah. Okay, kind of.
Yeah.
But like that's not your journal to share.
I think the sharing of the journal is the despicable part for me because there are ways that you could share your suspicions or you can talk about certain things without actually copying and pasting someone's. I've been an avid journaler since I could write. And so I just cannot imagine someone doing that without permission.
And I also, as an advocate, when she disclosed, and I don't know because I haven't read the book, but she disclosed that he's a survivor. That also hit me.
That's wild, friend.
Because
that's...
I mean, maybe it certainly probably impacted his mental health, I imagine, but also not hers to share.
At all. At all. And there's so many layers to this. And
there's also, we should just, for people who don't know, there's also a racial element here.
She's a white woman.
And he was Black.
And so I could only imagine also what his family is thinking.
Exactly.
How it just abuses.
Plays into
so many things, stereotypes about the relationships and whether or not she was really there because she loved him. And also just the abuse of his story and once again his legacy and their children.
Well, so they have 3 children who are young. Like the oldest is like 16.
And this is happening more and more, friend. There is a woman, I know you probably don't watch Real Housewives of Potomac,
No,
but
I don't.
there's things I watch. It would not be that. I don't either. But I know that there is a woman named Mia Thornton on that show, and I know our audience, many people probably watch it, and she's come under fire lately for like questioning her son's paternity on the show and like making a big to-do about getting a DNA test. And this child is a teenager. And
That's
she's
awful.
she's married and she has a new beau and like they're in bed together and the kids are walking in. And this is being displayed on television. And these young people are having to live in a world where this is what they either understand today or will understand very soon as they grow up and they mature and understand like what their mothers were doing or what their parents were doing online, either on television or in a virtual space. And so it's so much impropriety right now going on around kids, especially, that really, I don't know. It makes it hard to watch for a number of reasons.
Yeah, I think though this is an interesting topic, and I wonder if some of our audience like decides to read the book, if we should talk about it in a certain way, because grief is something that we have talked about,
Mm-hmm.
and mental health is something that we have talked about, and abuse is something that we have talked about, and finding light after darkness is something that we have talked about. And we've only talked about it from our own experiences because I think we both feel pretty strongly that we can't share others.
Oh, absolutely.
So, anyway, sound off.
Sound off below. Let us know your thoughts.
Okay, part 2 coming soon.
Part 2 coming your way soon. Stay tuned, y'all. Thanks for listening to Justice. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you'd like to learn more about our podcast, be sure to check us out on our website at justicepodcast.com. You can also reach out to us there if you want to be featured on the show or if you have a business or a product that you think would be a good fit for our audience. Thanks again for listening.